Tap in, tap in, tap in. Welcome to Open Exchange. And today I have a special guest in the building, one of my old coaches, former NFL player, former Kentucky Wildcat, Coach Doug. Welcome to Open Exchange, the head coach of Springfield High School. And of course, I want to talk to you about the season coming up. But first, I was just going over, getting prepared for the interview, and I see you went back and got your degree. How does that feel, and what made you go back to school to, finish that out?
Man, you know what? First of all, thank you for having me on. I'm grateful for the opportunity and look forward to spending some time with you today. The reason why I went back and finished was that I told my mom that I would graduate, and it took me 30 years to get it done. Little did I know it was going to take me that long, but it was the right time and the right season, and I wanted to be the first out of my group, of my family, to be a college graduate. My mom graduated, but my kids, now they have their father doing it as well.
Right. And as a head football coach, and you've been doing this for a while now, and you've been putting kids through school, I'm one of those people, appreciate you for that, got my degree and everything. It's a new landscape as far as, recruiting and things go. And, your name is synonymous with getting kids into school. The big thing that I wanted to ask with everything going on, because growing up, we was told, you get that degree, you'll be able to get the job, you'll be able to do all of this. But now it's like college and NIL and even a bachelor may not be enough. Like, what is the biggest difference to you now, preaching education and preaching for these kids to go to school, to where when you first started being a head coach to now?
Initially, the agenda was just to get to college and get a degree, because that's going to open some doors for you.
Right.
Well, now you got the degree that you're pursuing, but now you have people coming in pursuit with the NILs and things like that. Now the landscape is kind of shifting, and hopefully our kids are continuing to understand that you need a degree, which is great. But now, while you're in school, if you take advantage of the first 3 years you're there, you can probably get your bachelor's in 3 and begin the process of working on your master's. Because if you can get the master's and be out of there in 5, now you got another landscape that you can work in. But with the NILs, now you got, if you could transfer out, say you might school for 2 years. I'm at UD at 2 years, I'm doing well. And I get Georgia that comes and says, we'd like to have you here. And they come with $200,000 or $300,000 more or $1 million more. Well, you're going to leave.
Correct.
But they're going to leave 9 times out of 10, even though they are so close to getting that degree at UD and the power of that degree from UD. Well, now they got to go to a different university. Now they got to the school's only going to take about half the credits. So if you go in, you just drop, say you went to school for 3 years, you had 90 credit hours, the school's probably only take 60. So now you got to restart almost all over.
Right.
And I saw that with my own son who left UK, transferred to Alabama A&M. He went to Alabama. When he left UK, he had 90-something credits. And when he went to Alabama A&M, they were like, you're only going to take 60. So that puts you back another year or 2 when you're trying to get that degree.
Right.
But with the NILs and everything now, it's just making the landscape, it's just totally, it's like the Wild Wild West.
Right.
So
I say, does that change the recruiting aspect for you? Because, you done put probably about over 100+ kids, 200+ kids now into college. Like, does that change where you are like trying to tell kids what to look for? Or, like, how does that change for you as a head coach from trying to get these kids back or getting these kids into school?
We still want you to get to school. And if you have the ability to get the big picture, you want to get the big bag, some people want to drop you a small bag along the way.
Right.
But in the process of the big picture, you got to think long term. Man, even though I know I want to get to the NFL and I want to get this, just say, I'll use Aaron Scott as an example, or one of my guys that went to Ohio State. There were schools that offered him a lot more money than what he's probably getting out of State.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's what matters most to you, because one day the game is going to be over. And if you got $2 million from a school to attend that school, that $2 million is going to be nothing in terms of long term. It may help you initially, but you still got to go get the paper, because that paper is going to open a lot more doors down the road for you when the game is all over.
So do you think now that all of this stuff is going on, you think the financial literacy part is? Because, like, you know, I keep up with a lot of this stuff. And one, you know, I wish the NIL stuff was around. That's what I be trying to tell kids. I try not to, you know, back in my days or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, we was eating tomato sandwiches at Tennessee State. Now they all got changed and stuff like the rappers. Like, is the financial literacy part of what you are teaching now, especially with your big-time prospects and even smaller ones, because I know D1 AA players that's getting
bags. Getting bags.
Yeah,
getting bags. It's just trying to make them conscious of the whole situation, man. You have to have some discipline and structure. Hopefully, with most of our families, they're listening to not only myself but other people that we have on our team that have dealt with those things. And it's tough now, because it's hard to tell a family that doesn't have a lot, if Georgia or Tennessee comes and drop $500,000 on your house right now, just for you to say you're gonna commit there. You ain't signed yet, but they're gonna drop $5 on you.
Yeah.
It's hard to turn that down, you know. But the big picture, man, you got to try to hold off as much as you can, and then allow that process to take care of itself. And you'll get what you deserve and what you want. You just got to be smart, man, in your decision making with the whole process, man. And the financial literacy is definitely something that definitely needs to be addressed.
So there's been like a lot of things. It's a lot of things that I want to touch on, especially with, you know, the conversation. You have a crazy career as far as, you know, making the NFL and then coming back to the high school that you started at. What is your biggest moment of your football coaching or playing career for yourself? Like, what is something that you hold on, a memory that you hold on to that, you know, it just trumps everything that you've done so far?
Probably when I initially was getting ready to go to Coffeyville Community College, because I had to go to junior college my first 2 years. I was a non-qualifier coming out of high school. That coach, the reason why I even got there was a guy named John Butler, who was our head coach. And Coach Butler, they wanted Tony Cosby, who was our running back coach at Trotwood. They wanted him. He was all-state first team offensive player of the year, and they wanted him. But Coach Butler told them if they wanted Tony, they would have to take me. And so we go out there together for a visit, and I have to cover this guy named Jeff Price. I'll never forget it like yesterday. Jeff Price I didn't know that he was the first team All-American the year before.
Yeah.
He hit me with a post corner. I hit my back of my head on the post.
Yeah.
I'm on the ground.
Yeah.
I get up, and that guy did not want me, you know. So after that guy said, you need to go home and work on your back pedal. So I go home and do all I'm doing. And when it comes time for me to leave, the week before I'm supposed to leave, he tells me that I got another place for you to go to. You ain't going to make it here. We got X, Y, and Z. And they had 9 out-of-state defensive backs.
Right.
And I go in, and I'm like, I mean, literally, he called me the week before, and he was going to send me to Fort Scott Community College, which was terrible at the time.
It's still terrible.
I was like, Coach, just give me a chance. And he didn't want me to come, but I went anyway. But long story short, I go out, and I beat those other defensive backs that were out-of-staters. I end up being the one that they keep. The first game, on the opening kickoff, the guy that's starting that corner gets hurt. I go in that game and replace him. I have 9 tackles the first game, a caused fumble, an interception, and a fumble recovery, and I never come off the field again as a freshman. I was the only freshman that started. And so my thing is that the moral of the story is that denial is not delay. Delay is not denial.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
His initial thing because he told me I got inducted to the Hall of Fame, and his story was that he tried to keep me away from there.
Yeah.
He said I was the dumbest coach in the world. That guy went on to play 11 years in the NFL, but he would not be denied. And the fact that he told me no, I was just like, just give me a chance. If you just let me come, I'm gonna prove it to you. And the fact that I was able to do that, man, and then go on to be a first-team All-American out there and win a national championship, and all these things came from it. And it was that dude saying no, and me just being persistent and just believing what God had told me. You know, because when I was 10, I prayed and asked God. I just told my brother, I told my brother that I was going to make it to the league, and not knowing that life and death are in the power of the tongue. Once you speak it,
It comes
now
into
put the
it.
action behind it, and then it can come to pass. But
Right.
if you don't say it, it's not even going to have a chance to. And when I said it then, not knowing that I was going to have bad grades and this obstacles in the journey that I had to be on, but it was a part of my journey. But that man saying those words to me, and I've always been that guy that people always told you things you can't do. I grew up in Summer Square, dog.
Yeah.
5644 Hoover Avenue, baby.
What they calling it now?
It's all bad now.
Yeah.
it
They
ain't good
clowning
now.
Summer Square right now.
They clowning.
So through your 11 years in football, and my big thing now is, because, you know, I just stopped playing myself probably like a couple of years ago, is the life after football thing. And I think a lot of us, you know, who look like us, you know, especially with sports is so pushed into our community, it's hard figuring out what you want to actually do. So I'm asking this to say, like, was you being a high school football coach what you wanted to do? Did you know what you wanted to do after you played football, or?
You know, to be honest, at the time when I got through playing football, I was doing youth ministry down at Solid Rock Church.
Okay.
So I'm doing outreach ministry and doing all these things with the kids like a couple of days a week. On Wednesday and Saturday, we did outreach. We used to go in Middletown, all the little neighborhoods, and try to get the kids to come out and try to get the families to come out to church. Well, my father-in-law, at the time, they had a program called the Amir I Can program, which was a life skills program that Jim Brown ran, and he founded. And he had a guy who had a situation and he couldn't go back to teach the second semester. And so he asked me, he's like, son, you know, you're dealing with the kids 2 days a week. Why don't you go to this school and you can work with them 6 or 7 days a week? I'm like, okay. So I go out and start teaching this class 5 days a week. And one day while I'm in the class, one of the students asked me if I would do some DB work with him. So I go out and do some work with him one day. The next day we go out, it's 9 DBs. The day after that, it's 20 DBs. And then the head coach came to me and said, man, if, you know, I normally coach the DBs, but, you know, you got a little more experience. If you would like to coach and join my staff, you're more than welcome to. And Tony Brown gave me a shot at Springfield South that year. And then I was in it, and it was on.
So that's where you started at Springfield.
I started at Springfield South.
You started at Springfield. Okay, I did not know that. That's what's up.
I started at South.
So what got you over back at Trotwood to become the head coach? What was that process like for you?
The process, well, I coached that first year at Springfield South, and we ended up having a really good team. That was the first year they went to the playoffs, and we ended up winning our first game. Well, in the process of that, I was at Solid Rock still attending their church, and we were doing a 40-day fast or 30-day fast. And Mike Carter was the basketball coach at Trotwood. At that time, he was an administrator. He came out, and I didn't know it. I didn't know he went to Springfield South. Well, he came out one day and came and talked to me and said, man, would you be interested in being the head coach at Trotwood? And I was like, let me pray about it. And I prayed about it, man, and I ended up going out there and interviewing for it. And I ended up interviewing in maybe March. They ain't hired me till dang on July.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I ended up getting the job, man. And that first year, you know, they had told me like it's only been like 8 or 10 kids in the weight room at Trotwood at the time because they was in the dungeon at that time.
Yep.
And I sent out a letter to all the boys. Once I got the job, I sent out a letter to all the boys in the district and told them I was the new head coach. Told them the times we had weightlifting. The first workout we had 60 kids show up at the workouts. And from that moment on, it was on. And that first year we went 2-8. Won the first game, beat Meadowdale. Won the last game, beat Springfield North. Then the following year we go 8-2 and we make the playoffs for the second time in Trotwood history. Right. My team was the first team to make it.
Right.
And then we ended up going back. Then that began the process of doing what's going on now.
Yeah. So you end up bringing that first state championship to Trotwood. How was that feeling for you? How did that feel for you to bring a state championship back, being the first black head coach in Ohio to win one of those? What was that feeling for you when you got to hoist up that trophy?
Man, it was a great journey, but it was a greater opportunity and moment for just people of color in general, because you know we've been to those games, but we've never been able to pull them in. I watched my big brother. I call Ted Ginn Sr. my big brother.
Yes, sir.
I watched him go and play against the Maslins and I mean the St. X's and all those different teams and end up coming up short. And I was like, man, for me to get it, man, I cried so much that day because of what he had done because they played the day after us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so they ended up losing, but I was so grateful to be that guy for one of us to get one.
To hold that mantle up,
to hold it up, period. And I'm like, man, so it was great opportunity and great time, man. And I look forward to hosting another one. We've been there a lot now.
Yeah, you've been getting there a lot. That 5-5 season, you turned it around. I thought you was about to get you one over there.
Man, well, you know what? We that was probably the team that I felt should have won it out of the last three with Springfield.
Yeah.
Because we had overcome so many obstacles along the way during that season. And to get there and not seize that moment, man, that's one of the things that I still always wonder about with kids and decision making, because one thing we can't do is we can't play for them. We can get you in a position.
Yeah,
we can go through all the X's and O's and do all the situational football we want, but the kids still got to make the play.
Right. So the big question that I've been wanting to ask you, and it's, you know, we talked over the years, and I've seen you grow, you know, as a coach and everything like that. I remember I asked you one year, you know, why we didn't take it home my senior year, and you was like, man, y'all the guinea pigs, man. Y'all was the guinea pigs, man. Just trying to figure it out. So, like, you know, stuff like that stick with me. I'm a big, you know, community guy. So, like, my bigger thing for you is especially, like, coaching at Trotwood, coaching at Springfield now, and areas to where, you know, people would say that it's challenging, you know, with the kids because they have a lot to deal with, you know, being Black Americans in Dayton and Springfield. What is the team building aspect like for you? Like when you come in, do you automatically know, you know, this team has the talent to make it, or this team might have the attitude to make it? Like, what is your team building philosophy now? And, you know, how do you handle a group of young men coming from different situations, different home lives, different dreams and hopes? You know, like how do you get, because have you had a losing season since?
We ain't had too many losing seasons.
Yeah, like how do you stay successful? How do you continue to do it? You're going on 15 plus years now doing this.
You know what? The thing is that the community is the same. It's just different locations. But most of those challenging situations that they're confronted with, everybody got a rough side of town, one or two, sometimes three or four.
Yeah.
But with all of them, all they all want to do is an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And so my thing is to try to provide them with an opportunity, a vehicle. Okay, this is our format. You want to get out. Okay, if you can do X, Y, and Z. When I get you in the 9th grade, in the 8th grade, I'm going to go to your school. I'm going to find out. I'm going to games. I'm watching middle school track. I'm watching middle school basketball games, baseball. And if this kid plays baseball or football, probably got some pretty good hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
Let's try to find out some different avenues for you for us to help you be successful at whatever you want to do. If you want to be an NBA basketball player, but you're 5'10", might say, hey, you might have a better chance being a slot corner or a slot wide receiver than being a point guard in the NBA.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So let's try to find out what we can do to try to make sense for yourself. And with that process, then let's figure out what type of situation you got at the home. Are you confronted with single parent home? You got a mom only, mom working? You got a mom and a dad? If you got a mom and a dad, that's great. But usually you don't have that. So you probably got a mom who's working 1 or 2 jobs. So you probably don't have a lot of support to get you to different events that you need to get to. If you need to get some tutoring, you got to find out if you read well. Most of us don't read too really, really strong.
Yeah.
Unless we've had a great foundation, it's probably going to be a little behind in our reading area. So let's try to find a way that we can get you some assistance through getting tutoring or whatever. I got a lady I'm about to institute this year. She's going to help us with literacy. She couldn't read when she left high school. A white lady. I mean, I would have never thought it, but she said when she left high school, she couldn't read. Her mom and dad were well off, but she couldn't read very well, so she's doing some things at one of the elementary schools. So now we're going to implement with our football team this year. We're going to take 5 to 10 guys that have struggling in their areas of reading, and she's going to work with them. But trying to figure out the things that your weaknesses and trying to make them a strength. So when you are in a position, your junior year or senior year, you get an opportunity that you can get out because the vehicle's going to be there. Football, to me, easiest route that you can take. It's hard. I say it because it has the largest numbers. You got 85 scholarships. You got 75 in D2 or 1AA, 70 in D2, 65, in 1AA or NAIA. That's a vehicle that you can get out in basketball. You got 12 on the squad. You may get 1 or 2 each year that they have a scholarship. But now with the portal, guys is in the portal. They're going to get them guys before they get high school kids.
Yeah, especially in basketball now.
Especially in hoop, because people want to win. They want it right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so let's try to find out which ways we can help you get to where you want to get to. So if we want to use football as that vehicle, let's find these weaknesses and let's address the weaknesses. If we can address the weaknesses, we got a chance down the road. I got a couple of kids right now. I got a kid that's about to be a junior, Jameer Daniels. When he was in the 8th grade, we made a declaration that he was going to go to Ohio State. In 2027, he's going to sign to go to Ohio State.
Yeah.
And right now, he's on this process to get that. He has over 3-4 grade point average. All the things that I told him along the way, he's done. He's 15 to 20 offers right now. He'll be a national recruit guy. But he's going to have the opportunity because he's got a good support system, got mom and dad, both involved in his life. You know what I mean? So he's a guy that is a great listener. And if the kids will listen, then they're going to have an opportunity. Most of them, all they want to do is be heard. But to listen, get them to listen, you got to hear them out. So if I ain't listening to you and find out what your weaknesses are, what things are you good at. Got another kid, same kid, made the same proclamation. Different household, even better frame physically. He looks even better than the one that's got all the offers. Yeah. He like 6'3", 205, 210. Play outside linebacker. I'm like, boy, but he got a different household. He's got a 2'1", 2'2". He has a learning disability. But he still got nice offers, but we have a little different struggle that we have to deal with. So addressing that and trying to get the right people in his life that can help us get him together academically is the thing that we try to confront with that. And through the process of getting that done, man, that's open doors for guys. We do tutoring 3-4 times a week at our school during the season. After the season, if you have less than like a 2.2, 2.3, you got to go to tutoring.
So on that scale, when you're thinking about stuff like that, what is more important for you, the winning part or the getting kids to school part, or is all that?
The winning is secondary. To me, my greatest day of joy is seeing that family on signing day, seeing that family and their kid going to school, signing and going to wherever. It could be Defiance University. I'm happy with that because I know this kid has had the opportunity to change generations.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he can get to school down, his mom and dad, now his little kids, his children's children will be able to have opportunity or have that drive or initiative to try to go there.
Yeah.
And so to me, if I can get 10 to 15 dudes every year to sign, that's better than the state championship to me. I'll take that all day. Now, I would like to get another one on the way now. Don't get me wrong. I'd like to get one. And we ain't playing this, we playing, but
yeah.
That's my greatest joy is on signing day.
Yeah. So speaking of that, how's your team looking this year, the landscape? What's the biggest team you got on your schedule this year? What game are you looking forward to outside of, I know the Trotwood, Springfield aspect, especially for you and the history of it, but what other games are you excited?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Shoot, we got this week's scrimmage. We'll scrimmage on August the 9th. We'll scrimmage Louisville Trinity.
Oh, yeah.
They have won 25 out of the last 28 state years.
Yeah.
We've been scrimmaging them, and it's been great for both of us. We've been scrimmaging each other about the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think for us and our kids and where we want to go, it gets us prepared. We won't play against the St. X's. We're going to play against the Molars. We're going to play against some guys. So why not start it out in preseason?
Yeah.
That's our first scrimmage. The second scrimmage we go against Princeton.
Okay.
Brothers they like us.
Right.
Some boys in the hood.
Yeah.
So they're going to come with theirs, and we're going to have to match fire.
Yeah.
The first game we play Winton Woods. We got to go to Winton Woods. The second game we got dang on Walsh Jesuit, who a power in Division II. We got 14 guys already committed to school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we got them, and then week 3 we got the wood.
Well, yeah.
We got to go to the wood.
Got the G-Walk schedule after that. That's a
man. Listen, we gonna be loaded, man. We will be definitely battle tested, and with them going to 12 teams in the playoffs instead of 16, we got to play.
Yeah.
But I got a really good group. Me personally, I believe that this is my hardest working group since I've been in Springfield. The only team that could match that one would be the team, the 2020 year of COVID year. That team worked about the same pace as this one because we were confronted with so many distractions and things that we had to deal with off the field. And but this group right here, we're going to be young, but we got talent. They don't have a lot of no names, but they're going to be some names at about week 1 or 2.
Yeah. So, you know, we just touched on the Trotwood situation, and you left 2014. Was that a tough decision for you? Because, I mean, if you look at the years after, you know, Trotwood,
it was set up.
They was talented.
It was set up.
Yeah. So how do you leave that situation and go to a school where they just combine, you know, the North and the South, which Springfield has always had talent.
Yeah.
Trotwood has always had talent. And I know you saw that, you know, that Springfield situation just like you saw the Trotwood, but you were a little bit more connected to Trotwood, being that was your alma mater. Like, what was going through your mind when you was making that decision and when you got the offer?
It was definitely a very difficult one from the standpoint of having to leave a situation that I was comfortable with and having to go into a spot where I have to embrace a city that I started my game in, but the landscape had kind of changed. I was at South. Now I got to deal with the North end and the South end and trying to deal with the people who have money but yet still don't want their kids to play football, you know, and trying to get them to trust me enough to where they would allow their kids to come and play, you know. When I went there I went there and to speak with the AD. I wanted to just go out there and see what was going on, what they had. And I go in and I go into practice. I go into basketball practice. They got a 6'7" center, about 240. Didn't play football. Got a 6'4" power forward on the JV. Didn't play football.
Yeah.
They had about 8 to 10 kids that didn't play football. The only football player was Danny Davis, and he was a freshman at the time. And I talked to Isaiah Carson. He was a basketball coach at that time. He said, Mo, if you take the job, you can have any of these kids that you want.
Yeah,
they want to play. And so when I left out of there, my kid's mom at the time, she was living in Columbus, and we were living in Trotwood. Well, Springfield was halfway mark to me. So I'm like, I asked my kids, prayed about it, asked my kids what they felt. And they were like, Dad, it's cool. It's cool. And I was like, you know what? The numbers didn't match anyway. You know, so my numbers wasn't right. The numbers was a little different in the field. So that made it all right too. You know what I mean? But I had the challenge of, you know, you're inheriting a team that hadn't won their best record prior to us coming there. Was like 1 or 2 games that they won. Like they were like 3 in a whole bunch of bad games. They won 3 games in like 3 or 4 years all together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but they had some kids. They had some talent. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they had a really good coach. He was a good guy, but I felt he was like Carlton from the Fresh Prince, and they needed somebody like Nino Brown.
Yeah.
You feel me? So I came in a little different. You know, I was a little rough around the edges. So I'm gonna challenge you in some ways that you ain't been challenged before. You know what I mean? You're not gonna get your jersey. The jersey, that's Springfield's jersey. You think you're number 1. Yeah, you number 1, but that's Springfield's number 1.
I talked to a lot of your kids just being out, you know, and I told them I play for them, and I asked about certain things, and I'm like, oh yeah, Coach Doug's still doing this.
Oh, we gonna do that.
Yeah.
Hey,
he's still on that.
We own it, dog. Yeah. It's about the team, and if you want something, you got to show me, man. I'm from Missouri, man. I need to see your actions. Don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah.
I got a lot of kids that like them. People that like the church. Show me, man. Just show me by your actions, and we can work with you.
Mm-hmm. You did come into, Trotwood, got removed from the G-Walk, and then you went to Springfield, going back into the G-Walk. You're going from D2, where it's not a lot of those. I mean, it is, the Catholic schools and things of that nature. What do you do to try to compete with those schools that have that extra money? What is that extra edge you try to get those kids? So because you know coming in that you gotta, like you said, you brought up the St. X, the St. Ignatius, and all of these schools. Like what do you do to try to keep your kids prepared, knowing that? I mean, if we being for real, like resources wise, they are up. Like it's a big difference. I've seen your weight room. You guys have a nice weight room, but I've seen these other schools' weight rooms.
Yeah.
I've seen the equipment that these kids have as far as football goes. Like, what do you do to try to stay and compete in Division I? Because we talked about the winning and going to school, but as a coach and as a competitor that I know you are, you still want to win.
Yes.
So being realistic in your mind, knowing that you have these shortcomings, what do you do to try to compete? And then my second question is going to be, do you think it should be a difference between these Catholic schools and public schools when it comes to the playoffs?
Okay, the first question. We just grind. We try to find different avenues. We don't have the luxury that I love that the Wood is that we had the dam. You could take the kids out to the dam.
To the Inglewood one.
Take them out to Inglewood. You got to find different ways to try to get them to get that little extra edge. You know what I mean? So we may not have the equipment that they have, but if I can get a few people that will invest in our kids, and I've had some people that have invested, bought us some equipment. Guy give $5,000 here. So we go out and we get pads, sleds, and all these different things, and just try to get a few of the things that we need that would be essentials for us. Get new pads for the 7-man, 5-man sled. Get 2 new pads for the offensive drive block, double team blocking pad. The 1-man tap pad, we got pads for those. So we got little things that we can try to nix that with. The Wood still got some stuff way better than we got. I love the Wood because those things that we had to get to, you know what I mean? We'll have to shoot. We don't have to shoot with the roller on wheels. We got an old school shoot that one of our coaches made with steel. And we don't even have a lid on the top on it. We got some foam pads that we just put on it. You know what I'm saying? But those are things that I think that as we continue and we get to the point where we're getting ready to play a week 13 or week 14 against a Saint X or against Elder or someone in that line, that with us playing against Trinity, we're going to know that we're going to be able to match up with them, because their thing is they always think they can out-coach us. And I believe that we got one of the best coaching staffs out there. Coach Smoot is a great defensive coordinator. Now I got the gang back together. I got Coach Wallace and all my offensive guys back from I haven't had for 2 years. Yeah. So now I got those guys back. So the gang's together from that aspect. We added a piece when we added Danny Davis as my wide receivers coach. So added Moses as my DB coach.
Okay.
So we got some younger guys then we got Guy Victoria, linebackers coach. So we got some young guys that can infuse some of that youth in those guys and just continue to put that extra drive in it, because they've been there. So it's easier for those guys to talk to them and speak their language than some of our coaches, because Atterbury's an older coach.
Right.
I'm 61. My running backs coach, Coach Graves, he's 70 plus, but I got a young guy that's working with him. You know what I'm saying? So just infiltrating those guys and using that part of it has been something that we use to try to get that, to instill that, man, we can confront this weapon. It don't matter. It don't matter. When you put them on, they got to put them on one leg at a time when they put the pants on. Now you got to go ahead and tackle us in space like we got to tackle you.
Yeah.
You got to blow us off the ball. You ain't got the 2 Ohio State linemen. One of them ain't got 2 Ohio State linemen and a Michigan lineman. We had about to do for 3 years in a row. St. Ed's.
Yeah.
These guys got 3 Big Ten, not just regular Big Ten.
Them trenches,
they got some boys.
Difference.
You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
And that's where you win and lose it at.
Mm-hmm.
So we have those guys to confront. But we were able to match up. We play against Motor. They got a bunch of them. But we done beat Motor. We haven't lost to Motor.
Yeah.
Our hurdle was St. Ed's. But now we do some work with St. X now. We're gonna have some things where we'll do some scrimmages against each other next year. Just some things to just try to help us to continue to take the next step to continue on. Now the second question, I believe that there should be a divide.
Yeah.
That they should have to play each other, the private state championship, and let's just have the public state championship. And then at the end, you got one, we got one, and then if you want to match us up, we can play each because it's all about the money anyway.
Yes.
You want the money, so you're going to make us play 16 weeks anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead. What is going to hurt us one more week? We can go play December the 10th as opposed to December the 3rd. So go ahead and make some more money. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the chips.
Yeah, that's why they added that extra team in the playoffs.
Come on now. Yeah. Well, they done moved it back. Now, they done moved it back. They moved it back to 12, but they was all about the money now.
Yeah.
We want to get these guys a chance to play who've never made it before. Yeah, but you're also going to get that bread.
Yeah.
You know, because the money never goes. I mean, what the schools get, the high schools get part of the ticket sales that we sell for those games. We get part of that, but we don't get all of it. You know what I mean? What is it really all about at the end of the day? You know?
What's the biggest difference you think now? Because my thing, I think a lot of kids, we talking about the overall Ohio as a state for football. So, like, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said Ohio is more of a basketball state now. What do you think the issue is? Because back when I was playing, even before we was playing, you could get big guys in this area. You can get those. It seems like it's a lack, even though the number one wide receiver is at Wayne now. But what do you think the difference is between now and back then, as far as generation goes? And then you could talk to me about the player attitudes as well too, because you got a lot of the TikTok. It's more so of a brand and everything now. You got kids where you making posts after every offer that you got. Like, what is the difference between these players, and what do you think is the difference between the landscape in Ohio from now and back then?
Well, I think it's a misnomer that the numbers are higher in basketball than in football. Ohio is still one of the top 6 states producing Division I players.
Correct.
So we still have a large number. But now we just have a lot more basketball players that are pretty good coming out the O2. And it's balancing out a little bit more where we're getting kids that are taller. I don't know how they're getting them taller, but now it's a lot more kids that are participating in basketball. But yet and still, football's still football in Ohio. We still got them dudes.
Yeah.
You look, it's a ton of schools out there. We still, like I said, we're in the top 6 nationally as states producing Division I football players. But it's just the fact that they have the opportunity with all the social media to be able to go out and sell themselves through the AAU teams. But now football being allowed to do that
the
as
7-on-7
well.
and stuff.
You're allowed
like
to
that.
have 7-on-7, which is going to be a big benefit for us to be able to go out and our kids be able to market themselves on the 7-7 circuits and things like that. So the skill position wise, it'll be great for our kids. It's always going to be tough for linemen. But if you're a big body, if you're 6'5", 265 and can move,
you'll get it.
If you can tap dance, baby, you can get some money.
Yes, sir.
I have a 6'5", about to be sophomore right now, who's 245, and he's played he played a few games with varsity last year because we used him as an extra tight end.
Mm-hmm.
But he ain't haven't played yet.
Yeah.
But he got like almost 10 offers right now.
Okay.
Because he can move his feet.
Yeah.
And he got great grades and good character. You know what I mean? So those parts, it's still big man game, but we got bigs in the state of Ohio. And
how do you, what's the, because you're saying we top 6, and my biggest argument about that is like, even though I said that, like, people are saying the football is down, but we don't even have a real life spring football compared to all of these other schools. And, I think that's mainly because this is a baseball state as well, too, and they don't want to get in between that. But how does Ohio, get to the spring football, man?
I think they're going to have to somehow allow us. And they have given us a little bit of a breathing room, so letting us have the 7-on-7s is cool. Now they've actually moved it up where now you can have 7-on-7s with your team in earlier now
Yeah.
in May, so you can at least get the spring evaluation part of it. Even though we're not being able to tackle in those things in May and in April or whatnot, I'm cool with that. But I just need my kids to be able to be seen by people moving and letting them be in the building and letting them see them perform and do different things. Ohio's still a big track state, so if you got linemen and they do shot put or disc, they can see the guys with their explosiveness.
Mm-hmm.
They may not be able to see them on a pad or blocking somebody, but you can see the explosiveness and the twitch that they may have.
Mm-hmm.
So that aspect they can be confronted with. Linebackers, we're using linebackers and tight ends that are big bodies. You can run if you're running them on relays. Sometimes you can get them out there on a relay team to let them see their speed. But it's balancing out, and I understand that people worrying about they don't want to take kids from other sports and take away their opportunities in track. Like I tell you, you ain't gonna take away the opportunity, bro.
Yeah.
If you fast, you don't think I want you to run track?
Yeah.
And that was one of we had a little situation the last couple of years. Myself and not really me, but we didn't see eye to eye, me and the track coach. And he's a good dude. I love him as a brother, but the training wasn't the same. You know what I mean? So we didn't have as many football players that ran track.
Yeah.
I went to 2 track meets the last 2 years, dog. I love track.
Yeah, you do.
You know what I'm saying? So for me not to go to a track meet and not have none of my guys out there, that's tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So hopefully we'll have a little better season this year, and we'll come to a little better agreement, and we'll get our boys back.
Yeah, that's good. And that was my last, I asked a lot of football stuff, but it's just like, my bigger thing, I wanted to touch on this with you because you are somebody who has done this for a while and did it at the highest level. But outside of football, like, what advice do you give players, to figure out what they want to do, to figure out what they, what their life can be outside of football? Like, how do you talk to them? How do you gauge them? What do you push them to do as far as like figuring out what to do outside of football now? Because that's the bigger thing, because this is all we do as a community is push sports or the artistry instead of, the science, being doctors, being lawyers. Like, how do you change that narrative as a football coach that you can be a multiple, not sport, but multi-talented? There are people who have doctorates and still play football and got football scholarships. How do you preach that in the community? Because it's just like, I said, I feel like we are behind because that is the main focus, is the entertainment aspect of it. So as a head football coach, how do you, still remind kids that you keep them grades up, you got other opportunities outside of football?
Man, you got to find out what's your why. What do you like? I got one of my football players. He's a tremendously talented defensive lineman, but he wants to be a veterinarian. So let's find out what's the things that you love. What are the things that you like? Because God has given each and every one of us a talent and a gift that's different than any other person in this world. So let's try to tap into what God has called for us to do. And my thing is, got to pray. Got to find out. We got to find out who and what the Almighty has placed in you that no one else has. How can we find out that thing? How can we find out who you really are? Because if I don't know who I'm from, then how in the heck do I know who I am?
Right.
So what do I know? What do I want to become? Am I what the street says I am? Am I what society says I am? So I'm going to try to find out who the creator of everything that exists out here, who gave us the thoughts to put together this computer. Somebody put that thought in you. So let's try to figure out, let's try to tap into that area, and let's figure out what it is that you're good at. What are your likes? What are the things that when you see those things and they burden you, what is those things? Those are the areas that you're probably called to tap into, because that thing that you hate to see when you see it. I don't like to see people that are homeless. I hate that. I hate to see people that are struggling out here in these streets. I hate to see dudes that are addicted to drugs. So how can I try to tap into that area and be an outsource or resource for them people to find a way? I want to get a place called the House of Refuge. The House of Refuge is for people who have issues, kids, be it grown-ups or whatnot, and try to find a way that we can get them back on their feet, get them on track to find out what it is that I was supposed to do, what I was created for. The House of Refuge, man, and my thing is just trying. Every one of us has something. I got to figure out what it is, but I got to try to tap into the person that, if I can tap into what the Almighty has called me to do, what He placed in me, that's my gift. That's different than anyone else's. Like for me, I think a part of my gift was my ability to be able to help young men and women to find out, let's tap into this. Let's try to go through this avenue. Had a young lady who never did track before in her life. She's been a basketball player, volleyball player her whole life. Talked to her about, why don't you think about doing track? You ever thought about doing track? She was a nice sized girl. She's like, I ain't trying to do all that. So I got her to work out with my daughter, who had did track. And that young lady ends up going to do track. Now she about to go to school at Ohio State for track.
Yeah.
Going to shot and disc.
Yeah.
So let's find out what the people's things that they're good at, or that even though they may not know it right now, let's try to find out and help them to find out the things that they can tap into. I know when you was a kid, when you was younger, you could talk.
Yeah.
You could talk. You was a big body, but you could talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You were articulate. You could speak well. You spoke well. I look at you in a position now, you're utilizing that. You got me on TV today, right? You got me on YouTube.
Yeah,
you got me out here. You feel me?
Yeah,
you feel me? Yeah. So let's tap into those things. You know what I'm saying? You may not know it, or a kid may not know it, but we may see those things and try to say, yeah, bro, you ever thought about you're a pretty good artist. I seen you drawing. How about let's go in there and try to see if we can do some stuff with some let's do architects. You know what I'm saying? Why not be an architect? Or let's see if we can get you down here at the Dayton Daily News. Let's try to see if you can do some of them comic sections. You know what I'm saying? Let's try to find out ways to just try to get in those things and just trying to tap into the things that cause your pain, or you get hurt about and you want to see different, to try to tap into that for those people.
So you brought up the House of Refuge, Refuge?
House of Refuge.
So that was going to be my last,
I'm working on it now.
Thing,
when I'm done with the game.
Yeah, what's the end game? You just spoke on you being 61. I know you've been doing this for a while. I know you with your ministry and your faith and everything. So like, what's next for you, and how long do you see yourself continuing doing this? Because I asked you a while back too, like, why you don't go to college? Why you don't want to do that? And I feel like you just like being on the high school level, because that is the purest form for me.
Man.
So it's just like, what do you have after you all said and done, and do you have a timeline on when you go?
I told my superintendent last year, because I was in the valley of decision. I had a decision to make. I had gotten a really, really nice offer to go to Middletown and be their head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, 10 years, I'll be ready probably to go. I was 60 then. Well, I got a really nice group of kids coming through after this for the next 10.
Yeah.
So this depends, man. I really don't have a timeline. Whenever God ready for me to go, I'm gonna give it up. But in the process of that, I would love to get the House of Refuge started. And I'm looking into some stuff and trying to get some investors to come alongside me and help me put this thing together. To see what the White House is talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't always speaking so nice sometimes, You know what I mean? But hopefully we can make some stuff happen for those people out here struggling and suffering.
Never thought about doing politics, man? You great salesman, great talker.
Man, listen. Politics, I'm no good at that. I can talk to you about football. I ain't got nothing. I'm good on that. I ain't got nothing along that line. But no, I don't know when he wants me to be done with it, but I'm going to enjoy it while I can. One thing that I've learned is that the kids make you, I'm 61, they keep you young.
Yes, sir.
You keep working with them. You keep doing things. I work out every morning. I got a 3-year-old Doberman. I walk like 5 times a day. We're walking like 3-4 miles every day. So I'm about to go home. When I leave here today, I'm about to go take him for a walk.
Yeah.
We walked this morning at 6. We're going to walk today it's going to be about 6 when I get 6:30 when I get to the crib. Then we'll walk again at like 10.
Yeah.
But being around the game and being around those kids, man, they keep you running. Then I'm lifting and working out, man. So My body feel good. My
Man, you
mind
still
feel
look,
good.
still look the same too, man. You
Hey,
still
man.
getting younger every
Hey,
time
man.
I see you, man.
Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
I'm a Lord. I ain't did nothing to do it, but you did. I don't need nothing to deserve it, but I'm thankful, you know.
Man.
Be faithful, man.
I just wanted to know, you know, talk to you. I had that conversation with you. Like I said, you helped me through a lot when I transferred over, even though, you know, Trotwood was always where I was at. But
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to come and have the conversation with you and talk to you because you've changed so many different lives in different cities. And I know for me, because, you know, we've had these conversations, and you're different to me than a lot of people because you can admit when you're wrong, or you try to change and you try to develop and change your mindset and your coaching staff and going through each year. So I wanted to give you your flowers and everything for what you've done for the city of Dayton and for a lot of different kids. And just wanted to thank you for coming out to open the exchange. And, you know, anything I can do
appreciate
for
you,
know,
baby.
we good.
You know, I'm
Yes,
always
sir.
looking for a lineman.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you got any eligibility left,
I'm done with that.
no.
You
But
know,
no, I appreciate you, man. I'm proud of you, man, and continue to do things that you're doing, man. And if there's anything I can ever do, man, I'm right just a phone call away, bro.
I already know. You always answer my phone call, so we good. Thanks for watching Open Exchange. We'll be back next week. Y'all make sure y'all get out and watch some Springfield games this year. Support the community, man. Go to these high school games. They need it.
Come and see
These
us.
kids need that love.
Come and see us.
Appreciate y'all.